I started oral stuff when I was 16, testosterone right around 18. See, nowadays, especially, you don't need a physique. I think you know all the risk, and maybe you do, especially you get water retention and you're just like, fuck, I don't like how I look. Really, it's like, well, that affects a lot of your life, you know?
And making a clean sweep today, walking away with the debut novice and the overall. It goes to athlete number 1, Gabriel.
Hey, welcome back to the Peak Natty podcast, everybody. We have Anthony Mantello on today. Doesn't really need any introduction. Retired IFBB pro now, I guess. Kind of an OG in the fitness industry. And I know you've been on some other podcasts before with people talking about your past and how you grew up and everything like that. So if people want to know your backstory, they can go listen to those. Some of those are great. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, kind of just about the OG days, and then we'll get into the teen steroid epidemic and the subject at hand. From what I see, it's more of like a pepidemic these days. But let's get right into it, man. So how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Gabe?
Dude, I'm good. I don't know if you remember, but 2 years ago at the Arnold Young LA party, we played ping pong together.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Oh,
Or 2
cool.
years ago, not last Arnold.
Look at that, full circle.
But yeah, full circle, man. So first thing I wanted to ask you is, what's your favorite memory from kind of the OG Gymshark era when you were a teenager coming up in the industry?
Oh, man. Favorite memory as a whole would probably be like senior year of high school, getting flown out to the UK to do the infill stringer launch with Gymshark was definitely a cool moment. A little bit backstory there was junior year of high school is when I really wanted to, I guess, make it as, fitness influencer wasn't even a term, but in today's terms it is. So it was to make it as a fitness influencer. So I was just doing my thing, posting some content, and then I got picked up by VQ. So I was sponsored by VQ for a little bit, and then me and Lex got sponsored by Gymshark, and then they reached out to me to kind of do a launch, the infill stringer launch with them. And when I got that email, it was like super cool because I was just getting ready for prep, my first ever show, senior in high school. My dream was to be a sponsor. A lot of cats here. Was to be a sponsored athlete. And then, senior in high school, I got my dream actually got accomplished. So that was really cool. That's my new cat. I literally got him yesterday. So come here, buddy.
Did kids make fun of you for posting in high school and stuff like that? Because the reason I didn't really start posting until college per se is because I was so scared of what other people thought of me when I was in high school. So I never posted, even though, I was like 5'11", 200 pounds lean playing football senior year. I could have posted, but yeah, I was scared of what people thought of me.
Kids definitely made fun of me, but I just viewed myself and I was like, I'm confident in myself. I like what I have going on for myself. So why would I care what you think? Most of these kids they were partiers or like not even, I was cool with everyone in high school, but like literally kids that were like a bit dweebier were like picking on me. And I was like, why are you picking on me? At least my perspective was they were dweeby. And to them, in their perspective, I was maybe a muscle dork, So it's all about perspective there. But yeah, I definitely got like bullied, made fun of, but it never affected me.
Yeah, you're getting flown out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was cool.
One thing I was wondering, was Kyle your coach for your first show, or was it someone else?
Yeah, it was always Kyle. You want the backstory there?
Yeah, I'll tell the backstory there, and then I have a question for you about that you don't have to answer.
Sure. So the backstory with Kyle was when I was 14 and I wanted to do bodybuilding. I set a goal. I was like, when I'm 17, I want to do my first ever show. So when that time came around, I would just shop at a local supplement store called Jersey Shore Supplements. And I just knew, actually, I met this one guy who was actually the first ever Classic Physique Pro. When Classic became a division in 2016, he won the first ever pro, for Classic. So I reached out to him because I saw him at the gym once and I said, hey man, I want to compete I can literally pull up the DM right now. I said, hey man, I want to compete when I'm like 17. Who's your coach? And then he was like, oh, I'll coach you. And I was like, no, I don't want you to coach me. I want your coach. So I looked through his Instagram, saw he would tag like Kyle for a lot of his posts. I was like, all right, that's his coach. I'll reach out to him when the time comes. So 3 years later, the time came, I sent Kyle an email. He ignored it, sent him another one, ignored it. Third one, he answered. And then from there, he just took me on as another client. There was nothing special about our relationship at all. And then I just won the show. And then I guess we got closer after that and hanging out during quarantine.
Okay. And the question there is that, did Kyle kind of, obviously you've talked about that you were taking PEDs at a young age, specifically like SARMs and pro hormones, right? For those first couple of shows while you were a teenager. Did Kyle like kind of guide you through those, or were you doing those cycles on your own?
I mean, when I was 18, Kyle started helping with my cycles and stuff like that for sure. When I was doing everything else before that was all my own little Reddit research or forum stuff. And I would tell him what I'd be doing. So yeah, a little bit of guidance.
Okay. Do you think it's ethical for a coach to guide someone who's under 18 with PEDs? Because that kind of came up in my life the other day. I had a coaching consultation call with a 16-year-old whose old coach put him on retatrutide, and he experienced a bunch of issues. And he was coming to me, complaining about all that and coming to me for coaching. And in my head, I was thinking like, is it ethical to put a young kid or like guide them through PEDs? What are your thoughts on that if they're below 18?
I think it all comes down to, I mean, it's a great question. We have laws in place for certain things like,
What's up, guys? If this is your first time listening, you don't know who I am Gabe McKinney, an OCB pro, currently working towards my natural IFBB pro card. I'm the one and only coach, founder of my coaching company, Team Peak Natty. I coach anybody that is natural, whether you're getting on stage or you're interested in coaching. First of all, make sure you follow the Team Peak Natty page and keep up with everybody and how the team's doing this year. Everyone's absolutely killing it. But also, go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram, or you can book a free coaching consultation call below in the first link in the description. Let's get right back to the video.
The legal age limit to have sex with someone's 18, right? Because the brain's not like fully developed to make your own decisions because you're still like not an adult. And then like same things I think with like transgender surgeries now. I'm pretty sure there's like a certain age to take hormones. So like this falls under the same kind of situation there. I definitely think due to it being such a gray area right now, there's no laws in place, anything of that sort regarding PEDs, peptides. I think, I don't know. It's interesting because it depends who the person is, right? Let's say there's a coach who has a good heart and wants good for their clients, right? And is actually educated, knows something about the subject. That person could help someone compared to someone that just wants money and doesn't care. Right? Someone that wants to push a peptide code is going to push that peptide code whether the kid's 16 or 42. They don't care. They just want to make money. So if there is a coach out there that's older, wiser, knowledgeable, that has experience and could actually guide a younger kid, honestly, with the epidemic going around nowadays, young kids are going to take things no matter what because of marketing, what they see online. Everything's pushed and so common. So it's basically like finding a good, knowledgeable, wise person to help guide that person. So there could be good ethics involved for sure. There's just no regulation in place to really hold it down.
Yeah, I was going to say you could kind of go both ways because, if a kid's going to take something regardless, like obviously it's better to have guidance on it than not, and just have them, get into issues on their own because they're not educated, right? It'd be much better for a coach to, guide them through something that knows what they're doing. But at the same time, what if the coach could prevent them by hopping on stuff by, saying, hey, I'm not going to coach you if you hop on. Hey, do not take that. I guess you could just go both ways with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there's no win-win in that situation. It really depends on the person. You'll have some people who will be told by an adult figure, no, you shouldn't do this because it's not smart. And the person will actually understand and not go through with it. Then you have the kid, okay, you're not going to help me, on to the next, because there's thousands to pick up, So yeah. There's not going to be a change unless there's like a regulation in place. And I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I just feel like these, like younger kids, they just they're so set in their head, if they want to do something. And unless they come to the self-realization themselves that they shouldn't do it, they're not going to change their mind no matter what you tell them. I just spent, like an hour and a half on the phone with like a 17-year-old kid. about at the beginning of the week, just, convincing him and kind of telling him, hey, like, slow down. You shouldn't be doing this because, he wants to hop on steroids at the young age of 17, like bodybuilder cycles, because he's done like 2 natural shows, and he says he, wants to be a mass monster and take it to the next level. And, it just seems like you can present them with all the side effects and all the data and tell them that they're young and to wait a little bit. But when their head is made up, like, there's no changing their mind unless they come to the self-realization that it's not the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for example, right, you're a natural guy yourself. It was just like probably your morals and what you wanted out of your life, right? You just wanted to stay natural, build a healthy, natural physique, and that's it. Me included, when I was younger, I wanted like the extremes. I wanted to reap the benefits as fast as I can, and do whatever it took to get there. So that was just like my, neurochemical freaking brain itself working at that age. Everyone's different,
What was your favorite memory from when you and Jesse lived together in LA?
Favorite memory from that? With Jesse or just like living in LA?
Just like both. Say both. I like Jesse. He's a good guy.
Yeah, Jesse's a great guy. A memory with Jesse. I don't know. I don't have like a direct memory that was like super fun. It was just like everything was fun. He was like a great roommate, a great friend. So everything we did, we always laughed, had fun, like just chopped the shit. It was a great time, just chilling. Um, in LA itself, I had great memories from like hanging out with different people, going to parties. I was like that time was like a TikTok era boom. So a lot of the TikTokers had famous houses being like sponsored by like Facebook, Meta, all these different like manager companies. So we used to go to, me and Grant mainly, used to go to Taylor Holder's TikTok house and hang out with like all of them. We used to like just chop the shit, and they would have extravagant parties. So probably one of those parties was a fun memory.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then what does what does a normal day look like you for like these days?
What it looks like for me now?
Yeah.
I wake up, I go outside, I touch grass, I drink water, I'll do some cardio. I won't touch my phone. I'll read some pages of a book. I'll shower. I'll then eat. I'm working on a business which is going to launch in the summertime. So, but since it's not like up and running yet, there's not like so much work that needs to be done right now. Right now, the branding is being worked on, so it's me just approving / responding to the direction of the branding. So there's not too much work there. And then it's pretty much eat, read. I'll go train. I'll do two different types of training. I'll do the cardio in the morning, weight training, and then now I'm kind of stretching. It's not every day, but trying to do like 4 times a week right now. And then I'll pretty much research a certain topic or something like that. I try to stay off my phone as much as possible. Like social media as a whole is just, I think it distracts away from a lot of people's lives rather than actually living in the moment. And then I pretty much eat, go to shower, and go to bed early.
So you've been spending a lot of time like prioritizing other things and just wasting time on social media. Do you
Oh, yeah.
have any like of those social media blockers on your phone or anything like that?
I used to have a thing called Opal. It's just an app that will like restrict it. If you try clicking the app, it'll come like with a pop-up screen. But no, I don't use them anymore.
And how was that when you were using it?
It was great. It was awesome. Very peaceful. Like my whole goal, honestly, is like I'm building this company because I actually like a passion behind this idea and like building a startup and building a project and growing it. But like my goal in like a few years from now isn't necessarily to be making money through social media. I think a social media career is short-lived depending on who you are. It's not a long-term thing. So for me, in my case, I want to use social media to grow and document this company, just like how I documented like Road to Pro for my whole entire YouTube series, the bodybuilding. I want to document like building the brand of this company I'm building. And then that's pretty much it. Not have to worry about like sponsorship requirements or anything like that, and just post what I want to post and not even use social media really.
Okay. And hey, speaking of sponsorships, do you think what do you think about the big brands that know that these young teenagers are taking things and openly posting about it, but they still continue to pay them monthly and support them?
It depends on the brand identity, you know? It depends what the brand identity is. So you can view a company like Lululemon, and when you think of Lululemon, you think of clean, posh yoga girl, right? You think of someone very clean and posh. They're not going to sponsor a steroid person. You think of other companies in this industry that are more niche in social media bodybuilding, you know, the fitness industry and social media. Okay, a lot of it, the way that the trend has been going, has been, yeah, a lot of open steroid usage. So if that's their brand identity, like a hardcore brand, like let's use, for example, Gasp, right?
Mhm.
I'm sure they're not sponsoring degenerate young kids and stuff like that, but they're sponsoring open bodybuilders that have mentioned, you know, like, yeah, being enhanced and stuff like that. So it's just like, it's their brand identity. If as long as it fits the brand, it fits the brand.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so, with that being said, do you plan to kind of leave the brands you're working with once you get your business up and running and you're not, doing social media for a living?
Do I plan to leave them?
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends what the time comes, you know, where I'm at financially. Like I like Young LA, right? I wear their clothes every single day and have been since 2021. So I love their clothes. I love the owners. And it's also like they treated me well throughout these whole years. Um, would I up and leave just like that because I now have money? Probably not, you know? Networking, friendships, all those relationships are extremely important, you know?
100%.
I wouldn't also just be staying for that, but also because like they supported me in times when I needed them. And I'd also support them beyond when I don't need them.
No, that's good. That's authentic. So when did you officially start, your PED journey, right? So walk us through the timeline and how, really young you were when you started, your SARMs and the orals, and then walk us through starting, actual bodybuilder cycles and steroids.
I started like oral stuff when I was 16. And then I started taking actual testosterone right around 18. And then from there, it was just like typical bodybuilder cycles. From there on out, always just the extremes of up and down, cutting, bulking off, health cycles, or what are they called? Health phases, and blasting. Yeah, from
Okay.
18 on.
And what side effects did you get? More like so mentally. Obviously, physically there's always going to be some, a lot of people get gyno, a little bit of acne, stuff like that. I'm not sure if you did or not, but what were some of the mental struggles that, you had to go through at like a really young age?
I mean, depends on the compound I ran. You know, there's side effects mentally with every compound you run. I think everyone experiences side effects. It's about how well you can control it mentally is the biggest thing. Um, like when I first started taking testosterone, the biggest thing for me was I was very estrogenic. So I just
Like really
remember
emotional and stuff?
what?
Like really emotional and stuff because of high estrogen?
No, I
Or
don't remember being emotional or sad in all honesty, but I honestly, my body image, because when you take like testosterone, for example, a high dose of testosterone, it's not like an aesthetic compound at all. And who I was before taking that was a very aesthetic, lean physique because of these SARMs, right? When you take SARMs, it's this artificial, weird hormone that's not even like a normal hormone like testosterone or estrogen. So your natural testosterone shuts down, so does your estrogen. So you're very like dry, and that's what I had. I was very dry. So I started taking testosterone. I like jump started a second puberty, became very like estrogenic and watery. So my mental was a bit rough because of my body image. But like I don't remember necessarily being emotional or things of that sort. But then like doing any compound like NPP definitely was a bit more dramatic and emotional from running NPP, DECA. EQ, I just never fucking liked. EQ would always make me look old and gross. Tren is typical. Just Tren thoughts are pretty, very efficiently aggressive with everything. I mean, every single typical steroid that has its normal mental sides I've experienced.
Mhm. What about your actual preps? Like, obviously, I've been through multiple preps. You getting stage lean, if you're genuinely stage lean, especially for like classic bodybuilding where you got to get your, legs and glutes in, it's a different level of suffering sometimes. How
Mhm.
was your overall experience? Like, did you have any preps where it was so difficult you ever like almost threw in the towel, or walk me through that?
Yeah, my last prep I almost did, but it wasn't necessarily because of like, I just think the structure of the prep was a bit off. It wasn't as efficient as it could have been. Um, I was dieted a bit too hard to the point of my body lost its life, which is normal in prep, but it
Yeah.
started failing. My body was toxic because of one, the PEDs, but also super low food, high energy, high activity output. Um, like my stomach, I started losing control over my stomach. That's maybe because of like taking like growth hormone, like legit, just like muscle fatigue and like my core was there. So yeah, and then Kyle, I think he was trying to be mentally tough or trying to make me mentally tougher. My last prep, I did two shows. I did a regional show to qualify for nationals, and then I did my national show where I became a pro. My regional show was April 6th or April 7th, won, qualified, and then like 6 weeks later was the national show. My birthday is April 25th, so in like a week from now. But on my birthday last year, Kyle decided to give me the lowest calories ever on my birthday, which on previous preps, he always like, I didn't get fucking cake, but he gave me like a little refit. I wasn't expecting a burger or anything like that, but I was expecting like a little bit of something of not like cake, but like not for him to purposely dig me. And he
Yeah.
dug that day to the lowest possible, like to be like, like a drill sergeant essentially. And it got me so pissed and emotionally drained that like it wasn't the right move of a coach to do in that situation because like what the hell is
Stress kills physiques. I tell that to my clients all the time.
yeah, what is like an extra 300 calorie deficit for one day going to do in terms of conditioning with the show being another 4 weeks away? Fucking nothing. You just stressed me out. So literally, that was the first ever time I actually cheated on my diet. I would just went to a fucking restaurant. I ordered what I wanted and then told him the next day. And then that was that. And I almost quit because my body just like wasn't looking the part. It started getting exhausted and failing. And then I stuck through with it. And then, thank God, got my pro card, and that was the last show I did.
Yeah, cortisol kills, man. Cortisol kills.
Yeah.
So a question for you. So when you were a teenager and you were just like on SNARMs and you started taking PEDs, did you know that your other friends and stuff in the industry were taking stuff as well, or did you guys just not talk about it at all?
We honestly didn't talk about it. So I thought Lex was on stuff at the young age. He wasn't. I honestly
Yeah,
thought he was, and I thought he was lying about it. So
he's
that
a
was
peak
one of the reasons
natty.
why I wanted to, because I was competitive and I wanted to look the part as well. I knew of people like, for example, like I think Ryan Casey came out about speaking about it, but like I wasn't friends with him at the time. I just knew people were taking the stuff. And then I just did it my own, and that was pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah. No, these days, man, like teenagers are putting on each other with their peptide websites and their links and helping each other and recommending stuff to each other before they've even, lifted for 1 year in the gym. It's honestly pretty bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Dude, yeah, I'm down here in Arizona and I see it all the time, man. Like 17, 18-year-olds hopping on stuff. And it's kind of sad. They don't even they don't even look good. They don't even look like they're on stuff. And, they actually run into health issues, believe it or not. Someone I know was just hospitalized from retatrutide a couple days ago, unfortunately.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. But I know you mentioned something about God in your YouTube video about not falling into the steroid trap, at a young age. Do you think that plays a part, like your faith, into what you're doing now and treating your body more like a temple instead of using steroids in a way that damage your body?
Can you repeat / rephrase the question so I can grasp it better?
Yeah. So you were talking about, like God's purpose and stuff in your YouTube video about not falling into the steroid trap. Do you think, kind of getting more in tune with your faith plays a part in, talking about PEDs now and your experience, and then also like changing your PED usage and your training philosophy?
So what I will say is what I just realized was it wasn't so that faith brought me to that answer. I'm not the most religious person. I believe in something for sure. I think I'm more of a spiritual person rather than leading with Christianity or anything like that. I was raised Catholic, but I think I'm more spiritual than anything now. And what I just realized is I'm a very reflective person of my life, very self-aware with certain things. And the thing with me was when I decided to quit bodybuilding the first time, it was just like I was holding on to the identity of a passion, of a hobby, and how other people perceive me rather than who I am at my core, right? These hobbies never existed hundreds of thousands of years ago when we were humans on Earth. That we were just humans here to survive, reproduce, whatever the case may be. These hobbies became a thing, but it doesn't make you that's not what you are, right? You are you, your character traits, whatever it may be. So I kind of realized that bodybuilding isn't my identity. It's just something I enjoy to do, and I don't have to continue down this path that is going to take away life from me. Actually, like physically and metaphorically. So when I came to that realization, it was honestly just what's the word here? It was just like saturating my brain. It's not the right word here, but like sitting in my brain for a long time. I never like expressed it that way, but that's how I expressed it on YouTube. If that's the best answer I can give. I don't know if that answered it because that was still a bit hard to answer the question, but if it did.
So obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of just sounds like you fell out of love with the bodybuilding and always chasing more size and more size and more size, and just constantly competing. And does that sound correct?
I wouldn't just say falling out of love. I still love the sport and I respect it. I just don't think it's for me or what I want aligned in my life anymore. So I don't think falling out of love is the right term there because think about.
Is it kind of more like all good things come to an end? Like you did your time, you had a good experience, and now you're just kind of on to the next?
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. All good things come to an end, right? Let's think about it. Any bodybuilder, right? They're not doing it until the day they die, unless they die from bodybuilding, right? It's a chapter of their lives. My biggest thing was Road to Pro. I achieved my goal, awesome. I realized I didn't want to go further because I knew the consequences or potential consequences, and that was it. I'm cashing out before I get hurt and wish I could have cashed out earlier. And I think a lot of people are failing to grasp that.
100%. Okay. That being said, why do you think you would have why do you wish you could have cashed out earlier?
I wouldn't have cashed out any earlier than I did.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought that's what you just said.
No.
Okay.
Basically what I said was people are commenting on my socials, you reaped all the benefits and you're leaving something that gave you your whole life. It's like, all right, let's put it this way. Someone that, I don't know, anything. If you're on your deathbed, you're on your hospital because of something, you would trade everything in the world to be healthy again, to be able to live life. And if you don't have to do that thing again, awesome. That's pretty much where I'm at. I don't want to have to hit a point of wishing I stopped earlier or never had to hit that point. For example, if a gambler goes to the casino with $100 and they're up 200 at one point, and then they bet more, now they're down zero. Well, I bet they wish they cashed out earlier, right? Me? All right, cool. I'm taking my chips away. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get injured. Bodybuilding taught me a lot. I'm happy with the path I carved in it, people I've inspired, wherever it may be, or information I've gave, people I've met, different training things I've learned, how it's going to affect my future life with diet and nutrition, all these good things it taught me. Awesome. But I'm just not going to continue down the unhealthy part of bodybuilding anymore. I still work out. I'm still going to stay lean and have muscle. I'm just not going to take it to the extreme of competing to be unhealthy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because unless you're, not running, normal competing cycles, it is unhealthy as an enhanced bodybuilder. The amount of gear guys push, even just a little bit, right? There's always a risk until, you always say you're safe until side effects happen to you. But let me know what you think about this. So over the trends, this is just what I see. So I see a lot of enhanced bodybuilders, that go that high level route. They do it for a little bit, right? And then they retire either for health reasons, just like you, they had their fun and they just want to get out of it before anything, any health issues and stuff happens to them. or they are forced to medically retire. Like I know Anthony Tonso just had to medically retire as he found out he had a heart condition. Young, like 22-year-old bodybuilder that was chasing the dream. I know that happens to other guys as well, but from what I kind of see, just with my point of view, is a lot of enhanced bodybuilders, they really only like get to compete in this small window of time before they have to retire or before they stop. For many of those, reasons when bodybuilding takes a back end, whether it be, just moving on with their life, focus on family business, or like the health reasons. With natural bodybuilding, like I see a lot of guys competing into their 30s, into their 40s. And a lot of like naturals doing this for a really, really long time for the love of the sport. And also just because, you don't ever have to medically retire after using PEDs for many years like that. What do you think about that? You agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's the science adds up. 1+1=2. It's steroids affect your health. You have to retire earlier, or you continue until you have a health problem, or you realize you don't want to have a health problem, so you stop. Natural bodybuilding, I mean, the only real stop there is going to be not having the energy to want to do it anymore, or the desire. So yeah, it's all about health for enhanced.
Yeah, no, that's what I'll tell, because a lot of reasoning for some of these young kids getting on, at least kids I talk to, is they're like, I want to be an IFBB pro. I want to chase elite level bodybuilding. I love this sport so much. This is who I am. And I'm like, bro, if you love this sport so much and you want to compete for a long time, you might want to consider, just trying to be one of the best naturals in the world, because like there's a point where you have to get out, if you're going to be taking PEDs, just because of the health risks.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of like comments and stuff, right, in your socials. So I noticed on the initial one that you posted about the teen steroid trap, there's a lot of comments of kids kind of saying you wouldn't be where you are without taking PEDs at a young age. To make it in the industry, you need PEDs at a young age. They're like, says the guy that's living my dream life, a fitness influencer doing this for a living. Obviously, I have a lot to say to those kids, because there's a lot of naturals that have made it in the industry. But I wanted to ask you, do you think you could have been a full-time fitness influencer without taking PEDs?
Yeah, I mean, influencing nowadays, especially, you don't need a physique to become an influencer. You need to be creative. You need to just have a work ethic. You can be entertaining to some degree. You don't even need PEDs to make it in any influencing.
100%. Yeah. And like having a sick natural physique, it just takes time. Like I see, Cam Kissel and the Brinks at my gym here in Arizona every single day. They got sick natural physiques. They get to do, social media for a living. And they're natural, but you know what they are? They're like 24, 25. They've just been training for a while. Like you just have to be patient, and you can build a sick physique and blow up on that naturally. Or, like you said, these days you just have to be authentic, have a personality, be funny or provide value, and you can grow a following easy. So, kids say that a lot. They're like, I need PEDs to blow up. I want to be a fitness influencer for a living. I'm willing to take the risks for this. But in all reality, like that's just cope. You don't, like you said, you don't need it.
Yeah. I mean, the way social media is trending right now, it's a lot of degeneracy, and what falls under degeneracy is taking drugs. So it's a perfect fit.
Yeah. The role models on social media these days are, just drugs and more drugs, making it cool and being a degenerate. So yeah, I agree. What would you say to a 16 or 17-year-old like teenager who thinks they need gear to compete or get the physique they want?
They might. I mean, the way the question was worded, they might. If they want a big Ramy physique, okay, you're gonna need a.
Okay, I should say, what would you say to a 16 or 17-year-old who thinks that they need gear to, compete or be an influencer?
Well. It's a naive way of thinking, simply put. It's like looking at someone with the Lamborghini and thinking they're rich, right? You see a guy with a Lamborghini, you think they're rich. Externally, they look rich. On the outside, they have an expensive car that most people can't afford. Okay, but what if that Lamborghini is, let's say, $20,000 down, their monthly payment's $6,000 a month, and they're pulling in $7,000 a month? Okay, $6,000 going towards a Lamborghini, and they have $1,000 that they can barely pay rent. They're paying half and half rent with their girlfriend, whatever it may be. But are they really rich? No. So same thing with the steroid and the physiques. They think they need steroids to have this influencer level physique. You don't, and it's all for like the external validation. So it's just like, it's a naive way of thinking. Like a true wealthy person is someone that is financially free, has wealth and wisdom. Anyone could be wealthy. You could be wealthy right now. As long as you're fulfilled with the passion, you're wealthy. If you don't have financial struggles, you're wealthy. If you're healthy, you're wealthy. You don't need a Lamborghini, a helicopter, a yacht, and 3 houses to be wealthy. If that is your perspective of wealthy, then sure. Same thing with the steroids and the physique. It's like all about this naive perspective of needing steroids to have this enhanceable physique. It's more of a young way of thinking that's very common in teens.
Mm-hmm. Are there any risks you wish someone had warned you about, when you were younger, as far as PEDs go?
Yeah, for sure. Like you think you know all the risk, and maybe you do, especially the side effects and stuff. But actually having the side effects hit you and affect you is different than just reading it, right? So like when you see like water retention, like, oh, okay, like water retention, it's just a little bit of water weight, I'll go in the sauna. But when you get water retention and you're just like, fuck, I don't like how I look. I don't like how my face is looking. I don't like this moon face. I feel ugly. It's like, well, that affects a lot of your life, So as much as people could have like continuously told me like these are the side effects that's going to happen, it's like you honestly have to walk in the shit itself to understand it fully and grasp it. But I mean, I wish someone just said like, yeah, it's not worth it. Your fucking shit's just going to get deformed and it's not cool.
Dude, something I'll tell like younger kids, I'll be like, bro, you're 17 right now. What if when you're 22, you don't even like bodybuilding that much anymore and you're just stuck, on TRT for the rest of your life or whatever it may be? Because, some of my OG gym bros that I started lifting with when I was 16 and we were like balls to the wall for the gym, just looking forward to go to it every single day. Talking about doing bodybuilding shows, in love with the gym. Like some of those guys, they're more into like making money and the business side of things now. And they don't really diet. They lift here and there for health. But like when you're 17, you don't know what your future self is going to want, even when you're like still young, 21, 22. So I'll tell that to kids a lot as well.
Well, let me intervene because what you said was exactly me. You said taking things at 17, having to be on TRT for the rest of their life, and they quit at 22. It's pretty much me to a T. But here's the thing, from my understanding of my choices in life and taking drugs at a young age, PEDs, and having to be on TRT, I'm not crying a river saying, I messed my life up, all these things. It's a learning experience. I've learned, okay, this was a chapter. I now am facing, a lifelong consequence of having to take artificial hormones, exogenous hormones the rest of my life. Is it that bad? In all honesty, no, it's not. But I've learned a lot through this process of taking PEDs. It taught me a lot about my character, who I am. I've gained all this experience that I would have not gotten. I'm not saying you have to take PEDs to have this experience, but it was a part of my life that I learned a lot from. And I don't regret it one bit because I've learned so much. And yeah, I may not bodybuild anymore or want to competitively, but hey, it still taught me a lot about nutrition, diet, all these things for, potentially a healthier life if I never got into bodybuilding. What if I fell into Gen Pop's American diet of eating donuts, fast food, all these things? Could have worse health markers than I do now from eating healthy and taking TRT. So you never know how the road's laid out for you. You really don't. But as long as you can make better choices as you continue to grow up, I think that's what matters.
Yeah, no, like I'm big on that too. I don't think you should ever have any regrets in life, right? All our experiences kind of lead us to who we are. And if you just live life regretting things, you're going to live a miserable life.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things I honestly want to do is just, promote staying natural, promote being cool, and just like educate some people because, I have a lot of friends who are enhanced as well and went that route. And, I don't ever want to like come across as putting enhanced guys down or anything like that. I simply just want to like inspire and educate on the natural side of things because these days social media is so filled with just promotion of it. Use my peptide link for this, use my peptide link for that. Join my high test coaching and I'll put you on every PED and peptide under the sun, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, in a world filled with that, I think it's just important. What's up, homies? This channel is not sponsored or monetized, so I just wanted to take a quick break to plug my sponsors. If you guys would like to support me and support the channel and support the podcast, you can use code GABE on Define, Raw Sups, sore bars, and intelligent elephant. As far as coaching, if you guys are interested in building your peak natural physique, competitor or not, first of all, make sure you guys follow the Team Peak Natty page to keep up with everybody competing and the entire team. But just go ahead and click the first link down below and book a consultation call with me, or feel free to message me on Instagram with any questions. Thanks for you guys watching. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Peace. Let's get right back to it. And to, educate people more on the other side of it so that they can make their own decision.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I definitely think there needs to be, people talking about this more.
Yeah, no, one of the reasons I bring that up is I got a comment on one of my posts the other day, and it was this enhanced bodybuilder talking about, he's like, your whole thing is just hating on PEDs and gear and stuff like that. And I responded to him. I'm like, I don't hate on guys that do PEDs. I just, educate about the other sides of it that no one talks about, because he was saying, you don't see us guys on PEDs hating on naturals and stuff like that. And, I'm like, it's not hate. It's just, social media and kind of promoting the other side of it as well. Cause I have a lot of enhanced friends and everyone has their own decision. Some people are going to go that route, but there's also, another great route that you can achieve, just the same. You can achieve a social media following naturally. You can achieve a great natural bodybuilding career among the different leagues, especially I think the NPC tested league is really cool now. That's what I do, where you can win your IFBB Pro card naturally. So, a lot of people don't even know about that side of natural bodybuilding. And a lot of kids that chase that IFBB Pro card, don't know that it's possible naturally now through the tested side of things, which is cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, you recently made the shift kind of from, road to pro bodybuilder style to, entrepreneurship, your upcoming business, your new style of posting on social media. I love what you're doing now, which is, promoting, just using your experiences to be a big brother to younger kids and talk about your own experiences. Would you say there's anything specifically that caused that shift in your content?
I'd probably say in general of growing up is one thing, I mean, I'm not going to name names in this industry, but a lot of people that are older still doing the aesthetic wave don't want to do it. We've grown up,
Yeah.
We don't want to be just flexing our muscles and to hard style white girl, whatever it is. It's there's no depth to that.
Yeah, 100%.
In terms of business, right? That's the industry we're in. The target demographic here is teenagers to young 20-year-olds, talking 22 maybe. And then it starts people start growing up, maturing, they exit college, all these things. And I hit that point myself. I hit 20, I was 22 when I retired. Yeah, 22. And I was just there's another chapter of life for me. So I honestly wasn't really posting much in general, fitness related, because I wasn't falling out of love with it, but my perspective changed. It was strange to then promote that perspective at first when I had it to my followers who just know me as bodybuilder, muscle, aesthetic, music, whatever the case may be. So it took me a while to sit and ponder on it, to just be you know what, instead of not posting content, let me actually hit and target the people that could understand and grasp or benefit off of the topics I'm talking about. Because it's niche now. It's extremely niche. It's a very small community I'm hitting now compared to the mass I was before with bodybuilding. And that's okay. That's fine. It's a new chapter for me. If people want to follow along, sure. If they don't, okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then what's next for you? Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Probably having, hopefully, this one business that I'm already done, that I'm creating is generating over 100 million in revenue, have another 2 businesses with that, and help my girls 2 businesses. So probably a serial entrepreneur with 1, 2, 3, 5 businesses under me and my girlfriend's name, 3 for me, 2 for her.
Awesome. Yeah. Honestly, the more and more, I've been getting to business and coaching in my own coaching business, I Like business is fun, obviously, like if you're truly passionate about what you do, it doesn't even feel like work, and you're excited to get after it on the computer every single day. At least that's my experience. But I know you coach a little bit on the side. I don't know if you still do, but I wanted to ask you, now with like your shift on things and your shift in content, are you going to coach naturals only and like lifestyle clients and like natural competitors, or are you going to coach guys on PEDs as well?
I coach everyone and everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. That's really the last question I had for you. Unless you have anything for me, that is a wrap. And I look forward to seeing, the rest of the content you put out, just talking about your own experience. And like you said, being like a big brother to younger teenagers thinking about hopping on PEDs.
Of course, dude. Well, I mean, I don't know too much about you besides we played ping pong like 2 years ago. What's your story?
What'd you say?
What's your story?
Oh, dude. So so kind of similar to you, but instead of soccer, right? I played lacrosse in college, and I loved lifting way more than the sport. I actually wanted to lift only, but I don't know if your parents told you something like this. My dad would always say, lifting will always be there when you're older. You can only play sports for so long, type of thing.
Okay.
So I played a lot of sports in high school. Football, wrestling, track. But I also loved to lift during high school. So as a result, I got pretty big in high school and had a successful, sports seasons in high school. But I always loved lifting more. And then after 2 years of lacrosse in college, I quit and kind of went all in on bodybuilding. And so, yeah, my junior year of college, while working full time, doing junior year of college full time, going through a breakup, I prepped for my first OCB show, and I went pro in that first show in men's physique. And then after that, like after the show, I started posting on social media and stuff like that. I know a lot of people will like post, on their prep and stuff like that, but I didn't really start posting until after I already went pro, which I feel like is rare for people, which kind of sucks because I had no audience for people to see my journey into my first show. But I took a little bit of time off, bulked up, kind of posted a lot of content, got a little bit of a following, and then I started my second prep with my coach, and we ran 2 NPC natural shows. And throughout that prep, I actually posted and I started coaching, and I was able to go, full-time social media just, through coaching basically. And then, yeah, I ripped those 2 shows. They went really well. I took second overall I did classic this time. I took second overall to Cam Kissel. So that was fun competing against him down here in AZ. And then a couple weeks later, I did a NPC natural show in San Diego. And that went well as well. I took like second in men's physique and third in classic. And after that, right, how a prep is. You're so dialed on the show. A lot of your attention is there. As soon as that prep ended, I was able to shift my full focus towards social media and coaching. And this is recent. This is last November, just a few months ago. And I went all in on being the best coach I can be, doing different courses, mentorships, J3 University, some mentorships with some other coaches, to honestly have the best knowledge bodybuilding wise, to peak natural athletes, coach natural athletes, but also to provide the best coaching service possible. And I would say, honestly, since that season ended, since that show season ended, obviously you build a lot of momentum doing a show. You've done social media. You're always, doing the best as you're competing and stuff like that. I kind of capitalized off those shows and then just went full all in to coaching, and things kind of exploded from there just because of my results and some of the clients I was able to put on stage. At the end of the day, social proof is king and results don't lie. So yeah, now I'm in the off season, taking 2 years off just because I make all my clients take at least 1 year off before they compete again. Because if you truly get stage lean as a natural, it is not good for your body. And I went through a lot. And so I don't want to compete anytime soon. I need some time off. And why that is if you've ever gotten, actually 6-7% body fat. Body's pretty cooked, but we're recovered now. We're in the full off season. I'm just going to be bulking up for these next 2 years. And then I plan to do a season where I take a run at the NPC tested nationals, whether it be Pittsburgh or Ben Wieters, Ben Wieters. yeah, go for the tested IFBB Pro card. But right now I'm full-time coaching. I think I'm putting about 10 athletes on stage here in May, 2 weeks from now. Crazy May. I'm actually taking one of the guys to Pittsburgh to the tested nationals. So hopefully, if things go well, we can have my first tested IFBB Pro as a coach, which would be sick. But that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just coaching.
Nice.
I get to do, social media full time through coaching and focus on my own bodybuilding journey through coaching. And I've really grown a love for that as well. And then my coaching team is called Team Peak Natty. So I really promote staying natural. And, I think it's a really good way to promote natural bodybuilding. And if you want to go that route instead of the enhanced route. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
And who are you outside of bodybuilding? Who are you at your core?
Yeah. So I would say I am a 21-year-old Christian that is just trying to live in the purpose God has called me to. And with how fulfilled I am coaching and how fulfilled I am, being a natural bodybuilder, having impact on, other kids and clients and stuff like that, I feel like I am right where God wants me to be.
Nice, dude. Really good.
But yeah, I kind of just work and work out and try to grow the business, try to grow and make a name for myself in the industry. That's where I'm at, honestly.
That sounds awesome, dude. Sounds like you got a good thing ahead of you.
But yeah, appreciate you, bro. I guess, you know what? One more question. So as someone who was in the industry, fitness industry for a while, right? You're kind of transitioning now. What's like one piece of advice you would give to me as someone who's really trying to make a name for myself out there?
The best advice sounds cliche, but it's to be yourself and then treat it like a business. So you look at statistics, you look at trends, you look at what's popping, you get better at making content, you become more efficient at it. You then outsource work, you become more efficient as the CEO of your coaching business or content, and scale. That's the best advice I can give. It's just treat it like a business and be yourself. Don't try to emulate anyone else. You be yourself and you scale.
Take action, baby. All right, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on, dude. I'll let you know when this is out. And yeah, everybody, if you don't already follow Ant, go give him a follow. It's like Anthony Mantello on Instagram, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. All right, bro.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.